In this video, we're going to see the rest of the things that we may need for our painting activity. Some of them are really useful, and it's a good idea to get them inside our painting equipment as soon as we start. For the other tools that are probably less important or just designed to achieve specific tasks, we can decide case by case if and eventually when we need them. Plastic wrap and paper towels or tissues are two very important things that we should get immediately. They should be probably in our house already. We're going to use the paper to clean our brushes and the palette, so we don't really want to get the most beautiful and expensive one. I actually buy a good quantity of the cheapest when it's in discount, because we're gonna use it a lot. As you will see later on in this course, it's very important while we are working our colors on the canvas to use a brush as clean as possible. So this is an operation that we're going to do a lot of times while we are painting, and of course at the end when we have completed our painting session as well. I personally find a tissue box like this the best solution, because normally when we need some paper we have a brush in our painting hand, and in this way we can easily get a tissue with the other hand that should be free. According to where we live, this type maybe isn't the most economical solution. So in alternative we can get these rolls of paper towels that we normally use in the kitchen, or even some toilet paper could be fine. Although in this case we probably need to use both hands to tear a piece of paper off from the roll. According with the type and the size of the painting that we're doing, we may need several days to finish it, and normally we don't want to prepare a new palette every day. So as we have seen, we should cover our palette with some plastic wrap when we end our painting day. Just for hygienic reason, we should keep it separate from the one we use for our food. Another thing that we're going to need since the beginning is a piece of soap that, as we have seen, we're going to use to do the final cleaning of our brushes. Any type of soap should work just fine as far as it's a solid one. We need it to be solid because we're going to rub our brush against it. I normally get the one that we use to wash our clothes. As we will see later on in this course, a part very important of the representative painting is the preliminary sketch that is going to be the base to do our works. They normally use charcoal sticks or pencil to do it. In this case, both types leave on the support lines made with charcoal or graphite dust that will get in solution with our oil colors, making them dirty. So, better before we start painting if we spread the sketch with some fixative. Both charcoals and pencils make sketches with dark lines, and this is going to be a problem if we use light paints on them, most of all if they are not really opaque. Because in the final painting we're going to see the line of the sketch below our colors. To avoid these problems, to do my sketches, I normally use felt tip pens of light colors. They get dry pretty fast and they won't get in solution with our oil paints. I normally use the yellow below the light colors and the orange for the rest of the sketch. Normally after we finish the painting, it's a good thing if we write behind some information about what we just did. I'm honestly not sure about what other artists do. I use a black marker to do it, but if and what we want to write behind depends entirely on us. Other things that we may find very useful are the ear sticks. We can be sure that sooner or later, while we're painting, we're going to make a mistake. And before we go on, we need to remove the old paint from the support in that specific area where we think there is something wrong. So using an ear stick gently, we're going to remove all the paint that we need off. And if one is not enough, we're going to use some more until the whole area is clean. In alternative, in case of large corrections, we can decide to use instead some makeup pad. We're going to come back to this subject later. Dealing with colors, there is always the risk that we get our clothes stained with the paints that we are handling, most of all if we are not expert. So my suggestion is, while we are painting, to wear old clothes that we don't use anymore, mostly that we don't care if we ruin them. The best are those that we feel very comfortable wearing. I normally use old sportswear like shirts and t-shirts in the summer or an old gym suit for the winter. But this as always is entirely up to you. As far as we don't care if we stain them and we feel comfortable inside, they are okay. If we don't feel like we have to change our clothes for painting, we can wear a lab coat or at least an apron. Actually, aprons normally have pockets in the front that we can use to put something easily inside. So, in my opinion, we should always wear it. If we like to mount the canvas by ourselves, most of all if we use pre-primed canvas, we probably want to get stretching pliers that are going to help us to pull the fabric in a better way. It's also good if for some reason, for example transportation, we have to take the painting off the frame and we have to remount it back in a second time. In this case, we also want to use a staple gun that allow us easily to fix the canvas to the frame. Another tool that is going to help us in this job is the stipple remover, that is going to help us to take the canvas off the frame easily. I find it very useful. I used to do it with a screwdriver, but this tool is much better and makes the job much easier. Most of the time when we use our paints, there is always some color left inside the tubes when we squeeze them with our hands. So if we don't want to waste any paint, we may want to consider getting a tube wringer. This is a tool that really helps us to squeeze our color up to the end. Another tool that we may find out there and that will allow us to add to our palette 1 or 2 containers for our mediums is the palette cups. By using these cups, we can actually bring in our closest painting area some mediums. For example, some linseed oil or some turpentine. We can find them in single or double cup version, with or without lid. The last tool that we may want to consider getting inside our working space is a wooden dummy. It helps artists to solve problems with the human body proportions. I have used it sometime more to study the lights, the shadows, and the angle point of view of some of my painting scenes. Definitely it's not a necessary tool, but if we want to challenge ourselves with complex figurative paintings, it may help us a lot during the preliminary studies. And with this last suggestion, we have concluded the part of this course that regards the materials and the tools that we will use from now on. If you enjoyed this video, we will really appreciate if you could click on like and subscribe to our channel. It will also help us very much if you could leave a comment. Thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one.